So ready? All right, call this meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry, we can't take any pauses in the pledge tonight because I've been given a strict deadline by Mr. Burke. No, kidding. All right, can we have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Bennett?
Present.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Here.
Mrs. Goebel?
Here.
Dr. O'Shea?
Here.
Dr. Perbola?
Yes, here.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Here.
Mrs. Arnold?
Here. All right, do we have any, well, let me announce we had an executive session prior to this meeting for personnel matters related to specific staff. All right, superintendent's remarks.
Thank you, President Arnold. Good evening and Happy New Year. January is School Board Appreciation Month, so I'm going to take a moment and recognize our board. This group is always focused on ensuring great experiences and great learning opportunities for our students. Personally, it's a joy to work with this group of professionals, and the community should be very comfortable knowing that all 9 members of our board are dedicated to the students and families of the Tunkhannock Area School District. So, board, thank you very much for your service to our community. As you may have seen in this week's Examiner, we're proud to partner with Lackawanna College to offer our students free online tutoring sessions. This service is available to all students, K-12. If parents want more information, please contact your child's school or check out our district Facebook page. Just a brief personal update. Last month I shared that I ruptured my Achilles tendon. So right before Christmas I had surgery to repair it. While I have a long road ahead, I'm being helped along by the talented physical therapy staff at Pivot Physical Therapy. They're great to work with. But that's my latest update. But I'm super excited that our district was the first in the state of Pennsylvania to receive the Great Pennsylvania Schools designation. To qualify, we had to submit evidence that we offered academically rigorous programming, that we were community-centric, that we are financially healthy, and we had to submit some documents to show that we were resilient, and that documents such as how we help those in need and our emergency preparedness. I'm honored to lead such a strong school district, and I'm thrilled to be the first in the state to receive that designation. You know, board, as I reflect on the start of a new year, you know, I feel so fortunate that my career path has led me to Tunkhannock. There are great things that happen every single day in our classrooms, in our hallways, in our cafeterias, and on campus. This is such a special place, and I'm going to make sure that everybody in the state knows how great Tunkhannock is. Each day, our students are surrounded by quality professionals that take great pride in offering strong academic and strong extra and co-curricular programming for our students. I love our school district, and I look forward to seeing the things that are going to be coming. Thank you very much.
We'll open the floor for public comment on agenda items only. We'll have 2 public comment periods tonight, 1 on agenda items, 1 on non-agenda items at the end. You have to be a resident, taxpayer, parent, student, or employee of the district to speak. And everybody gets 4 minutes. So do we have any public comment?
Y'all know who I am. I just want to say thank you. I see in the new business you're going to be putting railings in the middle school auditorium. I've been fighting for that for many, many years. I'm sorry, I'm from the old school and the elderly generation, and where I recognized it was when the Northern Tier Orchestra come, and they're all elderly people, the complaints about trying to get up and down those steps without railings, and I've been working on that for many years behind the scenes, trying to get that done. Also, to go along with that in the future, I'd like to see railings on the football bleachers. to do the same thing.
Thanks, Bill. Any other public comment? Okay, enrollments are there for anybody's review. Item number 6, approval of minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bennett?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherick?
Yes.
Dr. Fabola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Item number 7, business and finance. Do we have a motion for items 1 through 6?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherick?
Yes.
Dr. Fabola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Number 8, superintendent's report.
I'd like to recommend a resolution be adopted approving the personnel report as presented.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherick?
Yes.
Dr. Fabola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Franco? Or Mr. Farr?
Abstain.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Excuse me.
I'd like to now congratulate, on the personnel report was a retirement that was approved just now by the board. Lisa Siznak, one of our 5th grade teachers. She will be retiring at the end of the school year. However, she did submit her retirement paperwork, so that was approved. Congratulations on a great career, and we look forward to spending the last couple of months with you, Mrs. Siznak, but congratulations to Lisa. Number 2, I'd like to recommend a resolution be adopted approving the conferences as follows. I do want to apologize. Ms. Bennett brought up, and rightfully so, last meeting that she would like these all done in advance. I completely agree. I put out that directive. If you look closely, there is one that is not. There's one that's retroactive. It's item D there, and that was done before I gave that directive. So I certainly took to heart what was brought up, and I appreciate that. But that is why that one item is retroactively, I'm asking for approval.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherick?
Yes.
Dr. Fabola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Committee reports. We had one committee meeting that I'm aware of. Mrs. Eckert?
Yes. So we had the curriculum committee meeting and right before this, and we discussed the state requirements for graduation versus the Tunkhannock requirements, and then also some modifications to the course catalog, which we're going to, I think it's like 2 agenda items or next agenda item. So a couple modifications to that for next year, which we can discuss when we get to that topic.
Do we need to schedule any other committee meetings?
We do have one scheduled for next month. There is a building and grounds meeting scheduled for before next month's board meeting. That is specifically to lay out our final options for, or our final recommendation for the potential solar project.
Okay. Is that like a 6 o'clock or a 5:30 or?
Right now, we have a schedule, I think 6 to 6:30.
Okay.
I'm not sure we're gonna get through that 30 minutes.
We can change it if you want 5:30 to 6.
Yeah, I'm just thinking it's such a big project, and if we're gonna bring
Okay.
greenworks in and stuff, we probably wanna allow for more than 30 minutes of discussion.
Okay, and they will be present.
Did you say that was before the next board meeting?
Yes.
So it'll be 5:30 PM on
I mean, as long as the board is okay with it being on the same evening.
22nd.
Yeah, I prefer that.
Yeah. So Mrs. Lawson will have to advertise that as 5:30.
If we're gonna keep having 5:30 meetings, then we're gonna need the catering club. So I'm just
All right.
Done,
throwing that out there.
done.
All right. Any other committee meetings that need to be scheduled?
The only thing I would just say about that, the solar project, Dr. Supan's been supplied that information, so I would just encourage everybody to be trying to look at that if you're going to have questions before that meeting, so you come prepared. You know, we're talking about possibly doing a $10 million project here, so, you know, we want to make sure whatever due diligence has been done, so I appreciate the work you're doing on that. We've had some pretty good cooperation with the law firm that P&G recommended. And so I personally feel a lot more comfortable moving forward with that, but make sure if you're uncomfortable, have questions, bring those to that meeting or ask them beforehand.
Okay.
I believe that we are in contact with a representative from the governor's office about them potentially helping to offset the cost of this project for us. Dr. Supan and I and Dr. Grieco from LIU, we are Zooming with the representative from the governor's office tomorrow. They have they've alluded to the fact that they have some funding that left over from the federal infrastructure package that they would like to put into clean energy projects at schools. So Dr. Supan and I cornered them very quickly.
Yeah, okay.
So we should have a lot to report on that also, but we're Zooming with them tomorrow.
All right, great. All right, item 10, we don't have any unfinished business. New business, motion to approve the 24-25 high school course catalog.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Dr. O'Sherrick,
Yes.
Dr. Perbola,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett,
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert,
Yes.
Mr. Franco,
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel,
Yes.
Mr. Farr,
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold.
Yes. One piece of great news out of that comes that if you weren't on the curriculum committee meeting, is that now seniors can take speech and debate as their fourth ELA credit. So I know we'll be scheduling soon, and I'm sure there'll be kids that are excited to hear that. All right, item 2, update on right to know requests. They're there on page 100 for your information.
We've received 10 right to know requests this school year. 1 right to know request was received since last board meeting. District staff has spent approximately 5 hours processing the requests received from July 1st.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, we also have the items 3 and 4, the Visa account and the substitute teacher fill rate information available. Any discussion on those? Okay, item 5, we don't have to take any action on this, but for everybody's benefit, first reading and retirement of the following board policies, A through HH. Is there any discussion?
I would just like to point out that, we've been working diligently for about a year to try to make sure that our policies are completely updated. If these are approved at the next second reading, our policies will officially all be updated, and then we're just going to keep doing the bi-monthly updates that are required. So that's a big project
Yeah,
that
that's great.
I'm very happy to finalize.
Okay, item 6, motion to approve bus and van contracts as presented.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dr. Perbola,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett,
Abstain.
Mrs. Eckert,
Yes.
Mr. Franco,
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel,
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick,
Yes.
Mr. Farr,
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold.
Yes. Item 7, motion to approve the bus purchase of bus route 16, currently held by David Bennett and Hiram Newell, to Ben Garrison and Megan Garrison, DBA Garrison Bus Lines, LLC, effective 12/29/23.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett,
Abstain.
Mrs. Eckert,
Yes.
Mr. Franco,
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel,
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick,
Yes.
Dr. Perbola,
Yes.
Mr. Farr,
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold.
Yes.
I would just like to congratulate or thank Director Bennett and her husband and her family for their years-long service helping our students get to school every day. Thank you very much, Director Bennett.
Yes, thank you, Lori. Item 8, motion to approve the overnight field trips as follows: PMEA District Chorus and Skills USA, taking place in January and in April.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bennett?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick?
Yes.
Dr. Perbola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Item 9, motion to approve the settlement agreement and release between TASD and student number 011000680.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick?
Yes.
Dr. Perbola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Item 10, motion to approve a contract with ProCare Therapy for nursing services as presented, pages 115 to 118.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick?
Yes.
Dr. Perbola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Item 11, motion to approve a royalty agreement between TASD and Ohio Pile Prints Incorporated for use of the district's trademarks.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick?
Yes.
Dr. Perbola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes, and just so people understand, the superintendent in our business office and the people in admin, they negotiated, excuse me, what used to be a couple $100 maybe a year, if that, for the stuff you might see in other stores in town that are made and have Tunkhannock Tigers written on it. We will now be allowed to, or given the money, a $1,000 scholarship every year to a graduating student from Tunkhannock, in exchange for them to be able to continue to use the Tunkhannock Tigers logo and gear. So that was a very nice negotiation. Thank you for that.
And it's not exclusive, so that our clubs can still use it.
Yes, yes, it's not exclusive. It's just so that.
No, it's definitely not exclusive.
No. And it honestly would have been, because this is already being done, trying to fight something like that to make them stop, it wouldn't have benefited any of us either. So.
No, I mean, this will truly benefit a student every year in our district.
Right. All right, item 12, motion to approve an 18-month service contract with PSBA Insurance for the BUCS Better Unemployment Compensation System basic program as presented. This program will support, advise, and aid the district with unemployment compensation claims.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dr. O'Sherrick?
Yes.
Dr. Perbola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Motion to approve a 36-month service contract with Dempsey Uniform and Linen Supply as presented. Pages 125 to 129.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I had to just, is this for like just the mats and the, I'm trying to read it on my phone, but what, is it just for the mats and stuff, like the?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
And
gotcha.
it-
I was
it's
trying to
just-
figure out what we use them for.
Yeah, and it's just worth noting too, through negotiations, we were able to reduce the cost by 3 to 4%. It's not a huge contract, but there's still a reduction in cost.
Oh, good, okay, thank you.
All right, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Dr. Perbola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Motion to approve repairs and upgrades to the high school pool at a cost of $191,192.25. This project is being financed with existing capital improvement funds, pages 130 to 134.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
And the top line of what that was for was what?
I mean, I could certainly let John speak
Yeah.
more in depth, but I mean, there's a lot. There's, they're emptying the pool, they're blasting out the grout, they're regrouting, there's UV sanitation, there's new diving boards, ladders, trough services. What am I missing, John? I mean, there's just a lot happening with that pool.
This includes UV filtering, which basically, we're gonna walk away, like, this upgrade to our pool, what will need to be done to the pool after this? Yeah, I mean, I think this is a very good investment. I mean, I see not only how much usage we get, our community gets from this, I think this is a great investment, and I think it's gonna allow us to keep that pool operational for many years moving forward.
So the timing is,
John, could you step up to the mic?
So we're planning on draining the pool the last week of school. It'll probably take a week because we have to zero out the chlorine. We'll then proceed to drain the pool, which will take a few days, and then they'll start probably the second week of summer vacation. They should wrap up within a few weeks. It's not,
so it's not, the pool won't be out of service for the whole summer?
No, it'll probably be most of June.
Oh, okay.
Only because then when we come back, we have to refill the pool, which will take some time, and then we have to balance all the chemicals out, do startup, because what we're doing is we'll be adding VFD control, new pump, new motor, so we'll want to get everything balanced with the chemicals, and then get the pool, set up, heated, ready to go.
Okay.
All right.
I know there's a summer program or in the past, there's a summer swim program that's used it, so just.
Yeah, so the morning swim for most of June will probably be gone.
Yeah, okay.
Because this will also coincide, this will be happening at the same time as potentially the HVAC, the ventilation upgrades.
Correct.
In the pool area that were already approved by the board.
Yeah, so what we'll try to do is get everybody in
Nice.
at the same time, relatively same time. I mean, we don't want, we definitely don't want contractors on top of each other, but
Yeah.
we'll try to minimize the downtime in there as much as possible.
Great, that's
Okay?
awesome.
And this is after graduation, it starts.
Yeah, correct, yeah.
Got to make sure they have that lock-in night belly
Right.
flop contest, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question. I know this would be an add-on, and maybe there's a grant out there somewhere. Being the sister of a severely handicapped, my sister is handicapped, she loves the water. Is there a way that we could look into for open swim nights, that some way to connect handicapped stairs and then remove them for swim meets and stuff?
One of the things that's in the quote, we're going to move the lift so that it's there all the time.
Okay.
The positioning of the lift right now, it doesn't warrant leaving it in because it's in the way. So we're going to move it to a location where we can just leave it in, and then, if somebody was to need it, we wouldn't have to drag it out, install it, and,
Okay.
wait for that. So that's part of the, if you read through I don't know if I think it's in the board book, but if you read through it, it should all be in there.
Yeah, it is. It says
Very small print.
Yeah, they said they're drilling for a new ADA lift location.
Right.
So that, yes.
Yeah, it'll include the bonding as well to the
Yes.
structure of the pool.
Great.
That's
Okay,
great, thank you.
perfect, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Goble?
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick?
Yes.
Dr. Pervola?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Any opposition to taking 15 and 16 together?
Nope.
Hearing none, item 15 and 16, which is a motion to approve a replacement of intermediate center exterior auditorium, cafeteria, safety railing, and installation of center railings at the intermediate center auditorium at a cost of $49,970. The project's being financed with existing capital improvement funds. Then also 16 is the motion to approve the acoustic absorber panels for the high school band room at a cost not to exceed $21,529.50. Pages 137 to 138. So,
Motion to approve 15 and 16.
Second.
Second.
any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bennett?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckerd?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick?
Yes.
Dr. Perbola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Items 17 and 18 are both moving money around. Any opposition to putting them together?
Nope.
All right, 17 is the motion to approve applications for payment as presented, which is both to TJ Cannon for the fire alarms, one for 9 cents and one for $39,931.71. And the other is the motion, excuse me, to approve budget transfers as listed A through D for security, athletics, high school, and tech ed.
Is this the final payment on the fire alarm system? Okay.
It is, yeah.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Eckerd?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick?
Yes.
Dr. Perbola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Item 19, motion to approve Tunkhannock Area School District's participation in Merlin Mines Grant from the Pennsylvania Department of Education. There's no cost to the district.
Can I just like to say, this is us dipping our toe into the artificial intelligence waters a little bit. This has zero to do with any student data collecting, any sharing of data. Picture this as teachers, so this would be for a teacher, having like a Siri device that could control their board and their computer, so they wouldn't have to stand at the computer if they were showing a PowerPoint presentation. They could do so through the use. Now, the study that was done about this product shows that it saves, on average, about 7 minutes in a 45 or a 50-minute class period. This is through PDE. It's 3 years. There's no commitment on our end. They send us the devices. They ask that the teachers that utilize it participate in a survey with the company 3 times a year. We're not forcing any teacher to do it. If they want to do it, great. We're going to have up to 100 devices that we can do. But Mark Simcoe, who's our acting technology director, found this and brought it forward. And he and I did a Zoom with the company, and it's I'm going to say it's pretty cool. I said, does that work for the superintendent? Does he get to try one too? And they were like, absolutely. You could do it. I said, perfect, I'm in. So if it's something that we want to stop after 6 months, we could stop it. There is no cost to us, and there is no sharing of any student data, or there's no surveying of students at all.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you for answering all the questions I was going to ask anyway.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick?
Yes.
Dr. Perbola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckerd?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Item 20, motion to approve the donation of exercise equipment to the local police municipalities to support their current gym construction.
Motion to,
Go ahead.
motion to approve?
We have a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. To clarify, this is not any equipment that we are currently using at all in the district.
Yeah, this is equipment that's obsolete. It works. It holds no value. It's old. It's archaic. Our kids are not utilizing it all. Our atmosphere down there right now, the best way to describe it is dynamic with a lot of kids, so they're looking for as much space as possible, especially with the athletes using it for dynamic and explosive lifts. They're looking for open areas. So it just so happened that they're building a gym, the police municipalities in the area, and they said they'd take it, and it works.
Great.
So.
Did we get a motion in a second? All right, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick?
Yes.
Dr. Perbola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckerd?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. And the last item, the completion by TASD school board members of the LIU 18 election ballots. Page 149 and 150. Lori, do you have any input on this?
The Greater Nanticoke and Lake Lehman School District, they are new. I don't know them, and I've never had the opportunity to work with them. The Crestwood, Dallas, and Northwest School District, they're fabulous people. I've worked with them for many years.
Well, do we want to vote them each separately, or,
You don't really need to vote them.
oh, we don't?
No, you just need to fill out your,
Oh, everybody does their
Fill out
own?
and Sign your paper.
All right, perfect. Do we have any other public comment? Well, is there any other discussion on that? Okay, seeing none, any other public comment?
Well, a couple things. I just want to let you know on the passing of one of our retired personnel that was here for 25 years. It was Tom White. He passed away New Year's Day. He was here for over 25 years, and he was the assistant maintenance supervisor. Another thing I'd like to see brought back, Rachel's Challenge. It's the highest rated high school program in the country. We have had it here a couple times. It's time we get it back again. And juniors whose parents live in the area where they are serviced by Clabrack Electric, it's time to submit a survey, or not a survey, submit a paper for, get possible a free week in Washington DC with all expenses paid. I think the last one that did it was my daughter back in the late 90s. And it was, you couldn't believe what these kids get out of that. Now I see with the chorus concert, was there a band concert, a PMEA district band concert? Was there one, or is there one coming up? Because they always right close together.
Off the top of my head, I don't know, but that's something we can find out. Mr. Winsack, will you find out when the next, or get a list from the music department of the PMEA events, so I can get those?
Because I usually...
I'll send them to Mr. White.
I go to them.
Yes, I think there was one about a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that, Bill.
Okay.
I apologize, but we'll find out from the music department, and I'll send you that information personally.
And my last item, I heard you talk about a buildings and grounds meeting. Is that going to be public?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're always public.
Absolutely.
Now, for some reason, I have not got the phone or a text from the district since early in December, so I don't have any idea when there's late starts, early dismissals, or any of that type of stuff anymore. And like I said, I'm trying to be involved with the robotic club, and if I wouldn't have heard it from you, Mr. Doherty, that day, I'd have come up here and there'd been nobody here.
Yeah.
That day things were canceled.
Correct.
I don't know who's in charge of that, but I'd like to have those notifications if possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any other board comment? Seeing none, do we happen to have a motion for an adjournment? We've got a motion.
Second.